Fáilte. Welcome to a week in the life of a Gaelic writer. And this week I'm thinking about book sales and about who my readers are, and indeed who are the readers, the customers for any Gaelic books, not just mine. But before I get into that, I just want to say that if you missed the launch for An Bailach Beca Géiste Dorsen, there is now video footage of the event on the Lua Press website. I will link that below, and I want to say thank you to Maya for making the video. It's quite strange watching myself on video because although I make 2 videos every week, this video, A Week in the Life, and also the Crimachan book videos, I have editorial control over what I put up. I can edit and cut out mistakes and repeat stuff if I get things wrong, and I haven't been able to do that with this video. It's just me in the Quaker Meeting House talking to Sheila Campbell, and for some reason that I can't understand, waving my hands about like a mad thing for no good reason. So I'm going to have to curb that habit at future events and sit on my hands or do something with them to make it look less crazy. So to the topic of the week. Thinking about book sales and thinking about who my readers are. Obviously book sales are not, we're not talking about huge numbers, because of the very small number of Gaelic speakers who exist, not everyone will want to read a book, not everyone will want to read my book, and no Gaelic writer is ever going to make their fortune from writing Gaelic fiction. However, the group that I find most enthusiastic and loyal and keen to read my books is learners. And maybe that's because what I'm writing is simple. I'm a learner myself. I have simple thoughts and I write them down in simple language, so my books are perhaps more accessible than some other authors' work is, which is great because, you know, I just want to tell stories, and if people are responding to those stories, I'm happy about that. And it's good to get feedback from learners, as I did last week when I went to speak to the reading group here in Edinburgh, to find out what it is that's useful to them, what it is that's challenging to them, whether things that they didn't understand, didn't like, whether topics that surprised them. That's great feedback. Every writer wants to know what people think of their books. But I think there's got to be a bigger market out there among native speakers of all ages, and particularly among people who maybe didn't grow up reading Gaelic books. They grew up as Gaelic speakers, but there just weren't lots of books to choose from until more recently. There really wasn't a lot of popular fiction to choose from. How do you acquire the habit of being a reader? Well, in childhood, people are encouraged to read. I was an avid reader as a child. I was taken to the library and I had books at home, and I continued to read into secondary school and university and into adulthood. But some people seem to stop reading, and I'm wondering whether, if you are let's say, a middle-aged Gaelic speaker, someone of my age who has spoken Gaelic all your life, but when you were a child there weren't really lots of books to read, so reading was something that happened in English. Now, would you read a book in Gaelic, or would you feel that's not for you? I don't know. It's quite difficult for me, sitting where I am writing the books, to know how they'll be received, or what sort of socio-linguistic or psychological factors are making people read or not read Gaelic books out there in the wider community. One group that I think will be fascinating to watch is the young people who are now coming out of the Gaelic medium schools. If you think about children who are now 15 or 16, they were born in the year when Urscale published its first title. And since then, there has been a huge flourishing of Gaelic fiction, popular fiction, genre fiction, and literary fiction of various kinds. And so children who are coming out of school as Gaelic speakers are native to the world of literature, of modern Gaelic literature. And I hope they're being encouraged to read some of it at school. I hope that they are reading some of it for their own entertainment, quite independently of what might be on the curriculum. These are also children who were 4 or 5 years old, maybe, no, let me think. Yes, they'd have been 5 or 6 years old maybe when BBC Alapa was launched. So they probably can't remember there not being a Gaelic television channel either. So I think the consumer behaviour of this generation of Gaelic medium pupils will be quite interesting to watch when we're thinking about publishing and theatre and television and all sorts of other Gaelic artistic endeavours, because these are the people who will expect to be entertained in Gaelic in a way that perhaps their parents didn't, because there was no Gaelic TV and there were very few Gaelic books. So that should be encouraging. But a 15 or 16-year-old is not a rich consumer with money to spend. Not yet. Their purchasing decisions will be based on what their parents want to buy for them, although a book is within somebody's pocket money price range. So I think it's just interesting to think about the demographics of the potential readership for Gaelic books. I don't know the answers. I would be really interested to know what any of my readers or any Gaelic speakers who just don't think reading is for them might have to say about why people do or don't take up reading. Is it just that people don't have time? Is it that they don't enjoy the subject matter? Is it that they find fault with some other aspect of the writing? If we don't know, we can't respond. And all writers want feedback. Because as hard as it might be to hear criticism, you need to know what you're getting right and what you're getting wrong. Because if we're just writing for ourselves, then why publish? And if we're publishing, then we've got to publish something that people will react to. And that's the reaction is slow in coming. It can feel as if we're voices crying in the wilderness at times. So I don't mind getting feedback, good or bad. Please let me know. And let me know what you think about who's reading and why, and who isn't reading, and what the obstacles might be to getting some of the really excellent Gaelic fiction. I'm not talking about my own books. I'm saying all Gaelic writers are writing for a readership, and we want to get those books into the hands of readers and find out what they think about them. So that's what I've been mulling over this week. More next week. Agus go sa féich mí réisiúil, mé dochas go bí fír jo cheachcain ac a bhúile.